Sir, please start.
Yes, yes. Just sir, wait for only 1 minute. I am just starting.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Sir, screen is visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we have discussed in the last class capital expenditure, revenue expenditure, and third one is the deferred revenue expenditure. This is we have discussed in the last class. And we have already passed in a two entry regarding the capital expenditure and the deferred revenue expenditure. Okay. And the deferred revenue expenditure means expenditure incurred today, but we can get the benefit in future. So this is called deferred revenue expenditure. The example is hoarding and boarding expenditure, or the advertisement expenditure for a long duration, for the long duration period. This is then the advertisement shall be treated as deferred revenue expenditure. All the revenue expenditure, all the revenue expenditure cannot be in any time for all the time only deferred revenue expenditure. So advertisement expenditure may be of revenue or may be of deferred revenue. Suppose you spent only 5,000 rupees for the advertisement purpose to print the new pamphlet and insert the newspaper. So such advertisement having very less duration, less time. So this advertisement is only revenue expenditure, not capital expenditure. Suppose one of the company spent 5 crore rupees for advertisement, or we can say another example. Suppose Mr. One of the company pay 50 crore rupees to Mr. Virat Kohli for the advertisement in IPL and for 5 years. This is the contract for 5 years. In that case, the 50 crore rupees is the deferred revenue expenditure. Then what is the accounting treatment of deferred revenue expenditure? Total expenditure divided by life. Now the 10 crore rupees expenditure for this year or remaining 40 crore rupees, such expenditure is we will classified in subsequent for previous year. Now the similar two type of terminology. Capital receipts and revenue receipt. Capital revenue receipt and revenue receipts. Now just first revenue receipts. When the surplus generate or the goods comes in the business after the sale of the goods and sale of the service, then such receipts is a revenue receipts. Example क्या? Sale of goods and sale of services. So this is called the revenue receipts. Okay. On the other hand, or we can say ऐसे लिख सकते हैं, a receipts of money is considered as a revenue receipts when it is received from customers. For what purpose? For goods supplied. Whenever we receive the money from the customer, when we will receive the money from the customer? After supply of goods or services. Supply the goods or services. Okay. So in the, or we can say in the ordinary course of business, in the ordinary course of business, then this receipt is a revenue receipt. On the other hand, capital receipts. It receives some money maybe of a, ठीक है, ऐसे लिख दो, a receives of money ऐसे लिख सकते हैं, is considered as capital receipts when a contribution is made by the proprietor or partner towards the capital. Towards the capital. For what purpose? To run the business. What purpose? To run the business. So this is called capital receipts, or we can also say और we can ऐसे कह सकते हैं, और someone ऐसे भी कह सकते हैं, और someone contribute the money in case of company only, because in case of company other person can contribute the money, or in case of partnership firm, in case of proprietor, only partner or proprietor can contribute the money. No one can contribute the money as a capital, but in the company any person can contribute the money in the business as a capital. So this is called the capital receipt. Okay. Or we can say, if the firm or the company sell the assets, or we can say if the firm or a company sell the assets, in that case money received is treated as capital receipts. So now two types of receipts. Number first is the capital receipts, or number second is the revenue receipts. So revenue receipt means if the money receipts after the sale of the goods or services to the customer then in that case, the money received is called the capital received, or when the money received after the sale of assets or the amount contributed by the proprietor, partner, or the third person in the business, and this is also called the capital receipts. Okay, so now you can go through your study material. So the very deep concept is given in this question, in your study material. Now we have discussed the capital expenditure, revenue expenditure, capital receipts, and revenue receipts. So after incurring or after arising the revenue receipts or capital received, revenue expenditure or capital expenditure, we can generate either capital profit or revenue profit. Loss may also be possible, capital loss or revenue loss, or capital profit or revenue loss. लॉस भी बेटा हो सकता है, यहाँ पर लॉस भी लिख सकते हैं. Capital profit or loss and revenue profit or loss. Both the situation may be arise. So whenever we sell the goods in ordinary course of business, so this is called the revenue receipts. Or what is revenue expenditure? Expenditure incurred to operate the business, to operate the day-to-day transaction. So this is called the revenue expenditure. If we subtract revenue expenditure from revenue receipts, then this may be of revenue profit or revenue loss. If you sold the goods for rupees 10 lakh and the total purchase and total revenue expenditure is just example is rupees 9 lakh, so remaining 1 lakh is a profit. In the same time, if you sell the goods for rupees 10 lakh and the purchase and revenue expenditure is rupees 11 lakh, so this 1 lakh rupees is the loss and this is the profit. Now, what is revenue profit or revenue loss? When the surplus generate or deficit arise after the sale of the goods in ordinary course of business, subtract expenditure in the ordinary course of business, so remaining is either revenue profit or revenue loss. Suppose, now what is capital profit and capital loss? Suppose just example, you have a plant and machinery with the book value of rupees 20 lakh. Or if you sold the plant and machinery for rupees 22 lakh, so remaining 2 lakh is the capital profit. If the capital profit, if the capital receipts is more than the capital expenditure, so remaining is a capital profit. Or if the capital receipts is less than the capital expenditure, so remaining is the capital loss. What is the capital expenditure? Expenditure incurred to purchase the plant, machinery, furniture, to purchase the assets. So this is called the capital expenditure. Or revenue expenditure means expenditure incurred to operate the transaction, to day-to-day transaction. This is called the revenue expenditure. The example is the salary paid, electricity bill paid, telephone bill paid, basis paid, repair and maintenance, all are the revenue expenditure. But the capital expenditure means purchase of plant machinery, purchase of furniture, purchase of building, all are the capital expenditure. When you sold your capital expenditure over and above your book value, so excess amount is a capital profit. Or whenever you sold your plant and machinery, furniture, building with less than the book value, so remaining is a capital loss. Okay. Hopefully you understand the concept is capital receipts and revenue received, and capital profit and capital loss. Okay. Now I am just write down some of the example. Then we have to choose whether such expenditure is a capital expenditure or revenue expenditure or deferred revenue expenditure. Just example. Carry, sorry. Just example. Carries of rupees 10,000 spent on machinery purchase. The expenditure is number first, revenue expenses. Number second, capital expenditure. Number third, deferred revenue expenditure. Or number fourth, direct expenditure. So carries of rupees 10,000 spent at the time of purchase of machinery. So this is called the capital expenditure. We have discussed in the last class in the definition of actual cost. All the expenditure incurred at the time of purchase or install of machinery and plant is called the capital expenditure. And Abhi, what is the definition of actual cost? Purchase price of the assets plus all expenditure up to installation plus trial and run expenditure plus interest up to commencement of production and minus subsidy granted by government to acquire the assets. In that case, carries expenditure incurred or the carries rupees 10,000 spent at the time of purchase of machinery, then such expenditure is classified as a capital expenditure and not revenue expenditure. Next example. Heavy advertisement cost of rupees 20,000 is spent on the launching of a company new product. Launching of a company is new product. And the nature of the expenditure is or the nature of the expenditure will be फिर बेटा चार ऑप्शन revenue, capital, deferred revenue and direct expenditure. My question is heavy advertisement cost or heavy advertisement expenditure incurred of rupees 20,000 at the time of launching of company new product. Company going to launch the new product. For that purpose, company spend rupees 20,000 for the advertisement. Is this advertisement is a capital expenditure or deferred revenue expenditure or the revenue advertisement? If anyone can give the answer. Anyone can give the answer? Anyone? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I have already discussed, Hana bhai, previously all the advertisement expenditure. Some of the time it may be revenue expenditure or it may be deferred revenue expenditure. This is very confusion in the market. In most of the 11th class and 12th class teacher give the example of advertisement expenditure is a deferred revenue expenditure. Advertisement expenditure may be of revenue or maybe of deferred revenue. If the advertisement expenditure having the life of more than 1 year, then such expenditure may be deferred revenue. Otherwise, whether heavy advertisement, whether not heavy expenditure, whether lesser amount or whether higher amount, all the advertisement expenditure having the short life will always be revenue expenditure. So now the answer is revenue expenditure. ठीक है जी. Next. Rupees 200 paid for servicing. Servicing the company vehicle. Including rupees 50 paid for changing the oil. What is the nature of expenditure? Like you have paid rupees 200 for the servicing of a vehicle of the company, but you paid rupees 550 for changing the oil. Is the expenditure is capital revenue? This expenditure is a revenue expenditure. Expenditure incurred to operate the transaction to run the business. This is called revenue expenditure. Okay. Next example. Construction of basement. Costing rupees 2 lakh at the factory premises. Is called. Again, 4 option is given. Revenue expenditure, capital expenditure, deferred revenue expenditure, or direct expenditure. So now the answer is capital expenditure. Because in that case, you are going to construct the basement and you incur the expenditure for construct the basement already previous structured building. This is the capital expenditure, not the revenue expenditure. But suppose you have a business car or the business vehicle and the cost of the vehicle is 10 lakh. And after 1 year, you spend rupees 5,000 for the servicing of vehicle. This is the revenue expenditure because service cost is not the capital expenditure. Wherever we incur the expenditure at the time of car purchase of vehicle, then all the expenditure incurred at the time of purchase of vehicle, it may be capital expenditure. But after purchase of car, after purchase of vehicle, all the expenditure is revenue expenditure. But in case of building, suppose you have a already one floor building and then you construct the another floor, then this is the capital expenditure, not revenue expenditure. It may be differ according to situations. ठीक है जी, some of the examples है ना भी may be given in your study material, so you can check and solve all the questions. Then you can easily understand what type of expenditure capital expenditure and one type of expenditure revenue expenditure. Now हम यहीं पर आते हैं. In the last class we have discussed already क्या trade discount and cash discount. This is my first chapter चल रहा है. कौन सा? Double entry system. In the double entry systems हम लोग पढ़ रहे हैं क्या बेटा? एक तो concept as well as the different type of terminology which is arise at the time of the different type of transaction. We have discussed already debtor, creditor, capital, drawing, prepaid, outstanding, accrued, unearned, trade discount, cash discount, revenue expenditure, capital expenditure, revenue receipts, capital receipts, revenue profit, and capital profit. I think we have discussed. And the trade discount and cash discount we have already discussed in the last class. Or I think bad debts we have already covered in the last class. Bad debts. I think both the terminology as well as the entry we have already covered in the last class. Okay. But that means when the debtor becomes bankrupt or insolvent or unable to pay the amount, then such amount shall be treated as bad debts. So bad debts is a loss for the business, loss for the company, and all the losses classified under the nominal account. So what will be the entry? Bad debts account debit to party name. Bad debts recovered. If we have charged, we have claimed any of the amount as a bad debts in the current year or in subsequent year, if such amount recovered, then such is called bad debts recovered. Just clear करते हैं इसको. Suppose one of the transaction number first. Sold goods to Rajan for rupees 5 lakh. But will be the entry? The entry is Rajan account debit to sales. How much? 5 lakh. Suppose ये entry थी बेटा 1st October 2024. Now on 15th of October 2024, Rajan paid rupees 4 lakh and issue a check. So what will be the entry? Definitely you will deposit the check into the bank. So bank account debit to Rajan. Now how much total amount due to Rajan? Total amount due is rupees 5 lakh. But how much Rajan pay? Rajan pay only rupees 4 lakh on 15th of October 2024. Now Rajan doesn't deny to pay the remaining amount. Rajan is willing to pay the remaining amount after some time. Suppose on 21st October 2024, Rajan pay the balance amount. Balance amount is 1 lakh. So what will be the entry? Rajan account debit 1 lakh, sorry, bank account debit to Rajan. This is a simple transaction in the business. Once you sold the goods on the basis of credit, so debtor arise, then you will collect the amount. ठीक है भाई, maybe total amount at a one time or total amount in different time. अब now, same situation. Suppose on 1st October 2023, you sold the goods to the Rajan. For rupees 5 lakh. But will be the entry? The Rajan account debit to sales 5 lakh. Now the grace period is 15th of October 2023. यहाँ लिखा है Rajan is able to pay only rupees 4 lakh, not full. Due to any of the reason, due to bankruptcy, due to insolvency, any of the reason is now Rajan is willing to pay only rupees 4 lakh. Rajan denied to pay total 5 lakh rupees. Rajan is able to pay only rupees 4 lakh. So in that case, 1 lakh rupees is the loss for the company. So loss classified under the nominal account. What will be the entry? How much amount received? Bank account debit 4 lakh. Now remaining is the loss. How much loss? 1 lakh. Okay. If the debtor or the party become insolvent or become bankrupt, then such amount is treated as bad debts, or such amount is classified as bad debts. And 2, 5 lakh. Matlab we have right of remaining 1 lakh rupees as a bad debts in the business. In the previous example, we hadn't write off 1 lakh rupees as a bad debts because Rajan is able to pay the remaining amount in future. In this case, Rajan paid rupees 4 lakh. In that case, Rajan is able to pay only 4 lakh, not full. Rajan denied to pay total 5 lakh. Rajan says, okay, due to the problem in the business, I am able to pay only rupees 4 lakh. If you agree, then yes. In that case, for the company purpose, 1 lakh rupees is a bad debts. But suppose in the year 2024 and 2025, on the 21st October 2024, Rajan pay rupees 1 lakh. Since in the last year, we have write off the name of the Rajan in the books of account. Because Rajan account debit, how much? 5 lakh. And Rajan account debit, how much? 5 lakh. So definitely we have cancelled the amount, we have adjusted the amount, we have write off the amount of the Rajan. So remaining 1 lakh is the loss. But suppose in the next year, next to next year, in the succeeding year, if Rajan is willing to pay remaining amount 1 lakh, so what will be the entry? In that case, now the entry will be bank account debit and 2 bad debts recovered. What is bad debts recovered? If you claim any amount is the bad debts previously, But in the current year or the subsequent year, if such party is able to pay or the billing to pay, if the such party have already been paid the remaining amount, then such amount is a bad debts recovered. The entry will be bad debts account, bank account debit to bad debts recovered, never bank account debit to Rajan account, because we have already treated rupees 1 lakh as a bad debts previously. यहाँ पे कितना आएगा बेटा 1 lakh और यहाँ कितना आएगा 1 lakh. Some of the banking transaction भी करते हैं. ये डन हो गया. Now ये एंट्री कर लेते हैं. Distribution of goods as a free sample. You purchase the goods for the trading purpose, but you distribute the goods as a free sample to the party. Okay. So goods distribute for the free sample is the advertisement for the business. So now what will be the entry? Advertisement account debit to purchase. Why? At the time of purchase of goods, you have passed the entry purchase account debit to either cash or to bank or to party. Out of the purchase, some of the part of the goods you distribute as a free sample. A free sample means advertisement. Advertisement is an expenditure. Which expenditure? Revenue expenditure. Revenue expenditure or classified under the nominal account. So what will be the rules of the nominal account? All expenses, losses are debit. That's why advertisement account debit. And to purchase. Purchase means goods, and goods is the real account, but comes in debit and but goes out credit. So purchase is going out from your business. So this is called advertisement account debit to purchase. One more entry. Same related entry. Goods given as charity. Goods given as charity. Suppose you are running a grocery shop. You are running a grocery shop. Any of the function or the social religious function, any of the bhandara, the such organization, such society approach to you for the donation, and you give 1 bag sugar, and sugar is the goods for you. But what purpose you are giving the sugar? For charity purpose, and the charity is the expenses for the business. So what will be the entry? What will be the entry? Charity account debit. Entry क्या बनेगी भाई? Charity account debit to purchase. How much? जो भी amount है. ठीक है जी. Next. Just wait a minute बेटा. नीचे करते चलो. Cash withdrawn or goods taken by proprietor for personal purpose. We have already discussed previously. Drawing. Amount withdrawn by proprietor, either cash withdrawn by proprietor or the amount withdrawn by proprietor from the bank, or the goods taken by proprietor from the bank from the business for personal purpose. So this is also called drawing. Now the entry will be drawing account debit to purchase when the goods were drawn by proprietor. And the next, loss theft by fire. But loss, goods has been lost by or theft by the fire. So entry will be lost by fire account debit to purchases. Now, the entry related to GST transaction. Entry related to GST transaction. You all know what is GST, and the GST means goods and services tax. ठीक है. कब चार्ज होगा? At the time of supply of goods and services. Second क्या होता है? At the time of purchase of goods and services. At the time of sale, you collect the GST from customer and remaining amount क्या करेंगे? Deposits in the account, government account. But in case of purchase, definitely you will pay the GST. Okay. So GST collect at the time of sale. This is called output GST. Or GST paid at the time of purchase. This is called input GST. And how much amount you have to pay? How to calculate? Output GST and minus input GST. So remaining is the liability for the business. For example, you are at suppose trader. आपका काम क्या बेटा? Purchase the goods and sell the goods. And आपके goods का जो rate है 12%. Suppose you purchase the goods worth rupees 100 and pay GST at that rate 12% on 100, then how much you have to pay GST? 12. Then how much total pay is 112. Out after the addition of some expenditure for the business and the profit, now your sell price is rupees 120. And you collect the GST on sale. This is 14 rupees and 40 paisa, 12% on 120. Then how much total sale value including GST? 134 rupees 40 paisa. This is the input GST and this is the output GST. Whenever you collect GST at the time of sale, so this is called output GST. But whenever you paid the goods at the time of purchase, so this is called the input GST. Then what is the GST liability for the company? How to calculate the GST liability? Output GST. Sorry. Output GST 14.2 minus input GST 12. So remaining 2 rupees 40 paisa you have to pay. Now, what type of entry we will pass at the time of sale, at the time of purchase, or at the time of payment of GST? ठीक है जी. Now the entry at the time of sale. Entry at the time of sale. Sorry. What is the better total sale value? 120. How much GST collected? 14 rupees 40 paisa. ठीक है. So what will be the? नहीं होगा ना इसमें 12 रुपए का. हाँ. So what will be the entry? Just example, good sale on cash basis मान लेते हैं. So entry क्या बनेगा भाई? Cash account debit. How much you collected from the customer? Total amount is 134 rupees 40 paisa. To sale. What is the sale value? Sale value is rupees 120. And to GST. And how much GST collected? This is 14 rupees 40 paisa. So this is the entry at the time of sale, including GST. पहले इसको छोड़ देते हैं, ये करते हैं. Entry at the time of purchase. So whenever you purchase the goods including GST, what will be the entry? Purchase account debit 100. GST paid at the time of purchase. And 2, suppose paid by cash or paid by bank, any one may be possible. How much? Total 132. So this is the entry at the time of sale. This is the entry at the time of purchase. And after we have to pay the GST amount. You can pay quarterly or monthly. There is 2 types of option to payment of GST, whether quarterly or monthly. If your turnover is less than rupees 150 crore, then you can 1.5 crore, 150 lakh, then you can opt quarterly. Okay. So you have to pay, you have to file GSTR 3.1 return, 3B, GSTR 3B return for the payment. Or you can opt monthly for the all, but if you want to opt, then you can opt the quarterly returns, quarterly payment options. ठीक है, तो क्या फाइल करना पड़ता है आपको? GST 3B at the time of payment. Now we will pay the GST remaining amount. तो एंट्री क्या बनेगी बेटा? पेमेंट ऑफ GST. GST account debit to will always be to bank. Only online mode. Only online. There is no option for payment of GST in cash. You have to pay either your net banking, debit card, credit card, or through challan. But the bank definitely deduct the amount from your bank. Bank never collect the GST amount in form of cash. So this is the 3 entry at the time of purchase, including GST, at the time of sale, including GST, and the GST paid. Okay. So these are some special type of transactions. Now,
Sir, one small doubt, sir.
yes, pardon. Yes.
The amount paid to the government will be the set off amount, right, sir?
Yes. Will always be with a set off amount.
Okay. We will set off the amount whenever we are just before we are paying the amount to government.
Yes. Just I am just give your explanations.
Okay.
Suppose you opt the monthly return. Monthly option. You can also opt quarterly, suppose monthly. So, but first you have to file GSTR1 return. GSTR1 return. ये किसका होता है बेटा? This is the return of outward supply. This is the return of outward supply. But a part of the country, the date is 11, and some of the part of the country is date of 13th of the next month. ठीक बेटा. Suppose beta in the month of September, the GSTR one date either 11th of October or 13th of October in Delhi, UP, the date is 13th. I am staying in Delhi, so in my areas the date is 13 and some of the part in the country date is 11. So but on 13th of October for the month of September, you have to fill all the detail regarding the sale. So this is called the outward supply. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, beta, on the date of 24th of October, you have to fill GSTR 3B. This is called GST return 3B. And the GSTR 3B is a payment return. Then how we will calculate the payment? Beta, we have already filed the outward supply return. Is this clear, na?
Yes, sir. Yes.
And your supplier, those who purchase the return, such person have already filed the return at the time of on the 11th or 13th of October.
Yes.
But at the time of filing of return, we have to enter the supplier number in which you sold the goods. In same case, the purchaser, to those who purchase the goods, and such person file the return and such person enter your GST number. So in
Yes,
GSTR 3B, this is automatically adjusted. तो क्या करेगा बेटा? Output supply, output GST, and it will automatically adjust the input GST.
Okay.
We no need to fill the purchase detail. The previously at the time of starting the GST on 1st July to 2017 onward, and around I think 2020 up to 2020, we have to fill purchase as well as we have to fill sale. But after the updation in the system, the purchase is automatically reflected in your account. Then GST automatically adjusts the output and input. Suppose beta your output is 50,000, input is 30,000. So GST automatically calculates the liability is rupees 20,000. Then now you have to pay the rest amount, only 20,000, to the department account. So now we will pass the entry GST account debit to bank. Now clear?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Now beta GST done. Outstanding, prepaid, we have already discussed, in the last class, I think. Outstanding means amount due but not paid. What type of entry we will pass? Just example, the wages outstanding. So entry will be wages account debit to outstanding wages. So wages is the expenses for the business and outstanding wages the liability for the business. Prepaid, amount paid in advance. What will be the entry? Prepaid rent account debit to rent. Just example, prepaid rent. So beta prepaid is the assets for the business and the rent is the rent receipt. ये आपका prepaid है ना, so rent is the expenses for the business. Depreciation, we have already discussed, I think, depreciation. Depreciation is a normal wear and tear charges or the reduction in the value of asset due to continuous use. So this is also called the depreciation. Reduction in the value of asset due to continuous use. This is called the depreciation. Just example. Suppose you purchase the machinery for rupees 50 lakh. After the year, suppose the value of machinery is rupees 45 lakh. So remaining 5 lakh is the depreciation. How to calculate depreciation? What type of method we will use to calculate the depreciation? We will discuss further. So depreciation is the expenses for the business. So expenses classified under the nominal account. So what will be the entry? depreciation account debit to particular assets. Okay. Now with the interest on capital or interest on drawing, two type of entry. Interest on capital. Mala business charge interest on capital. Or if you withdraw the money from the business, then in that case, so interest on capital means business pay interest on capital. Or interest on drawing means whenever you draw the money from the business, then bank will charge the interest from you. This is called interest on capital, interest on drawing. Okay. So better entry kya banegi, because interest is the expenditure for the business, so interest account debit to capital. These are some important transactions, okay, which is very important, useful for the complete accounting. Now I am discussing just 2 and 3 type of important transactions because we have a time of 2-3 minutes. Then just check. First, this one entry. Sold goods to Vishnu at a list price 25,000, trade discount 20%, and cash discount 2%. He paid 60% amount in the same day and avail cash discount on it. How to beta calculate कैसे करते हैं? First लिखते हैं list price. So list price is 25,000. Minus trade discount at the rate 20%. So 20% on 25,000. So remaining is the 20,000, and this 20,000 is the net sale price. We will pass the entry with the amount of net sale price, not on 25,000 rupees, because this is the trade discount. Because this is the trade discount and we never pass the entry of trade discount. Next beta. Out of 20,000, he paid 60% amount on the same day and a bill cash discount on it. 60% pay in form of cash, cash bank is same. That means remaining 40% is credit. So now 20,000 divided into 2 parts, 60% part 12,000, 40% part 8,000. And cash discount will be allowed only on cash sales. At the rate 2%. So 2% is 240. So remaining is 11,760. Definitely businessmen pay in form of bank, not in form of cash. किससे मिलेगा आपको बेटा? बैंक से पैसा. At the time of sale. How much amount received? Bank account debit 11,760. How much amount due to party? नहीं, पहले यहाँ लिखता हूँ, sorry, discount account debit. How much discount? 240. The credit sales amount is rupees 8,000. Credit party, the party name is the Vishnu. And 2, क्या आएगा? Sales. How much? 20,000. This is the entry. Hopefully you understand my point. Now We will discuss the remaining part in the next class as well as new topic. Okay. You just better go through your study material. Okay. Okay, beta. Bye for now.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye.